The American Cotton Shippers Association, also known as ACSA, is a trade association primarily made up of cotton merchants. Founded in 1924, ACSA members manage the majority of the cotton trade, providing merchandising, delivery logistics, and risk management services to their customers. ACSA is grateful to Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith of Mississippi for introducing the Buying American Cotton Act of 2025, which will build structural demand for U.S. cotton. Since the bill's introduction, there have been 9 additional senators co-sponsor. ACSA urges all cotton industry stakeholders to support this initiative by reaching out to your congressional delegation and requesting their support for this legislation.
Hello out there in the Cotton Belt, and a chilly hello once again. Cold temps have swept across the Cotton Belt here in mid-December, here in the last official week of fall. We are coming at you, and also this will be our last Cotton Companion podcast for the 2025 year, so we're happy about that. Now, the temps have been dropping, but the industry activity has started to heat up. We've got meetings popping off all over the place as we enter winter meeting season. And we also had a big week in Washington, D.C. last week, the week of December 8th. And so this episode is going to reflect that. We've got an interview later on with our friend Lauren Krogman from the National Cotton Council. She's going to talk to us about the work she's been doing to prep for the Beltwide Cotton Conferences that are coming up in January. And we're also going to have a special guest to help us break down those Washington, D.C. developments here shortly. So a big episode, a busy episode. Settle in, and we'll bring you all that news and more in today's Cotton Companion podcast. Okay, so welcome once again. Let's just get right down to it, gang. The USDA had a busy and, for the cotton industry, impactful week of announcements last week. That was the week of December 8th. And so, you know, while there were actually some other announcements made through the week, again, it was quite newsy, including a trade deal. For our purposes today, though, we only wanted to examine 2 that, for me, seem like pretty important ones. The first being, of course, the $12 billion farmer aid package that the Trump administration announced, and the second being the regenerative ag pilot program announcement that they announced later in the week. So to help us do that, man, I've got quite a nice guest who can help us parse this stuff. With us today, we have NCC President and CEO, Mr. Gary Adams, with us. Welcome, Gary.
Thank you, Beck. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
Yeah, man, I truly am so thankful that you were able to join us on short notice. We kind of put this interview together quickly in response to the busy week. And as we podcast, it's Monday morning, and you have graciously made time for us, so we appreciate you. Okay, let me dive in. A week ago, on Monday, December 8th, the Trump administration unveiled a $12 billion aid package for American farmers, $11 billion of which would be aimed specifically for row crop farmers. So, hey, that's us. This is billed as a one-time bridge payment. The express purpose of it is as an aid package per the USDA to assist with U.S. producers impacted by, quote, unfair market disruptions. USDA Ag Secretary Brooke Rollins said the aid will be dispersed by February 28th. It seems expressly intended to provide some assistance with 2026 crop inputs, things like seed and fertilizer that are typically being purchased around that time. So money for the package will come from the Commodity Credit Corporation. Now, Garrett, help just an old country boy like myself understand this thing. The first question right out of the gate, did the National Cotton Council have boots on the ground for these discussions that ultimately led to this aid package?
Well, we certainly did, Beck, kind of going all the way back through the fall. Our folks in Washington, D.C. have been active in terms of engaging with USDA, engaging with staff at the White House, keeping in touch with the staff on the House and Senate Agriculture committees to make sure they understood the situation that our growers were facing. Coming out of the harvest of 2025, market prices on futures market trading in the low to mid 60s, and then cost of production still remaining at very high levels. And so that was part of the message we wanted to give. And in fact, even up until the week before it was announced, we had our chairman, cotton producer Patrick Johnson from Mississippi, in Washington D.C. doing a number of meetings, both on Capitol Hill, White House, and USDA, just again reiterating the need for assistance for producers.
Yeah, yeah. It felt like to me that seemed like the type of thing y'all would have been quite involved with. Was this package that ultimately was announced last week, as we said, did this thing check a lot of boxes for the council? Was it what y'all were hoping for, or were there any elements of it that you wish could have gone differently, say with timing or any cotton specific language?
Well, certainly it's been a package that had been talked about for several weeks. I think he'd go all the way back to September, and there were some signals coming out of the administration that there would be some assistance coming. We're certainly very appreciative of them finding the 11 billion that will go to row crops. So that's very helpful. I think we'll have to wait and see what the details look like. I think we've got a general idea that it's going to be structured similar to ECAP program from last year, which in my mind will look at market revenue relative to cost, determine a payment based on those factors, and then apply it to the acres that were planted in 2025.
Yeah, yeah. It seemed quite important, Gary, the announcement of this thing. How should our growers go about lining up receiving this aid? I mean, what's actionable for them, and when can they expect to do that?
Well, what we understand from USDA is a couple of things the growers need to be aware of. December 19th, so this Friday is a deadline for any grower that hasn't filed an acreage report with their local FSA office to make sure they have that on file. Now, most of the growers should have already filed it because really the filing deadline goes all the way back to the summer. But if there are any growers that have not done that, they still have a window from now to the end of the week to get that filed. That will tell USDA how many acres are eligible for the various crops and the various payments. Once they know that information, they then can look at the $11 billion and figure out what the payment rates are going to be by commodity. That's the question we're getting a lot of, but a little too early to say right now. What USDA has told us, though, is that they're trying to get that payment rate announced by the end of this calendar year. So that's a couple of things. I do think, obviously, growers need to be checking with their local FSA office because it's going to be, if they get the payments announced by the end of this calendar year and then trying to get the payments out by the end of February, a window in there that growers need to get in and just check on the status. I do think what we understand is that there will probably be some pre-populated forms. I think that's USDA's intent to get to the growers to show them by their records what the grower is eligible for.
Okay, that sounds good, Gary. It sounds like USDA is still trying to figure out various slices of the pie by row crops. So yeah, important that our growers get those actionables taken care of. So, all right, moving along, because the week got even newsier from Monday. On Wednesday, we had another big announcement as USDA said it's going to spend up to $700 million to help farmers incorporate more regenerative ag practices into their operations. The announcement of the regenerative ag pilot program, very easy for me to say, seemed to come under the Make America Healthy Again flag, if you will, and it aims to help promote conservation practices such as cover crops and reducing the use of chemicals and pesticides. So, Gary, I got a press release from the council the day this came out. It's actually how I learned about it before I went and did some research on it. But in that NCC release that we posted on our website at cottongrower.com, you guys seem to indicate that this effort was going to be about assisting with enhancing soil health and also addressing production costs. Can you help me understand how this regenerative ag pilot program can impact those two issues, soil health and production costs?
Sure. And, when we look at regenerative ag and some of the basic principles, one of the foundational elements of regenerative ag is what can be done to improve the soil. And a lot of our growers are already undertaking those practices to be good stewards of the land and improve the soil. And now USDA is putting forward some money to help growers further adopt some of those practices. And really, through cover crops or nutrient management, or a number of other practices they can undertake. It really is about making sure the soil is as productive as it can be, and you want to actually increase productivity as opposed to the soil declining. I think that's why it is going to offer opportunities for growers to be even more efficient with their resources and their inputs, and hopefully have a positive impact on production costs. Now, obviously, that's a longer term outcome, but the immediate benefit of the program is for growers who can qualify. This will give them the opportunity to hopefully have a cost share to help adopt some of those practices that can hopefully give them more of those regenerative practices.
Very good. Yeah, you kind of hit on my next question there. A lot of the language here seems awfully familiar. It feels like this effort is designed to promote practices that our guys, as you know, have been taken up in big numbers and increasing numbers in recent years. I mean, we talk about enrollment in the Cotton Trust Protocol, for example, really booming here in recent years. So if I am a cotton producer, say I'm already enrolled in the Cotton Trust Protocol, or I'm already engaged in a lot of these practices, will I be able to benefit from this regenerative pilot program?
We think you probably will. There's still some details that are to be worked out, but what I would encourage growers to do is go to their local NRCS office and figure out what opportunities are there for them. This is money that's under the CSP and the EQIP programs, which many of our cotton farmers have made use of one or both of those programs. So I think the next step is to go to NRCS, check in at your local office, and see what the application process looks like and what the opportunities are there. But hopefully this will be a chance for some producers to, at a minimum, get some cost share to help with some of the production practices that they would like to do.
Very good. Boy, you've hit it out of the park here. You answered my next question without me even having to ask. So, Gary, as always, we thank you so much for taking some time to help break this down for our producers. It seems like it was a good week for them. We know council has certainly not run from the fact it's been a tough year, and the council's been putting in a lot of work to mitigate some of the tough economic conditions. And this is just another example of y'all's hard work coming to fruition on behalf of our growers. So we thank you for that, Gary. And yeah, thanks for making time for us today.
Oh, glad to do it, Beck. Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a quick break from the news out of D.C. To bring you a little bit of agronomic discussion, courtesy of this episode's supporting sponsor, Corteva. Our custom editor, Hillary Wynn, recently sat down with Jonathan Siebert, Corteva AgriScience agronomy lead, and we're going to bring you that custom interview right now.
Hi, I'm Hillary Wynn, Custom Content Manager at Meister Media Worldwide, publisher of Cotton Grower Magazine. Joining me today to discuss 2025's cotton harvest highlights, introduce 2 new phytogen varieties for 2026, and share strategies to help growers maximize profitability in the year ahead is Dr. Jonathan Siebert, Corteva AgriScience Agronomy Lead for the South Delta and Southwest. Jonathan earned a PhD in agronomy from Louisiana State University with a concentration in cotton physiology and resides with his family in Greenville, Mississippi. Jonathan, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Hillary.
Jonathan, looking back on the 2025 season, what were some highlights that you heard from the field as growers wrapped up harvest?
Well, if we had to describe the year as a whole, I would say it was a long season. Starting out, there was a lot of uncertainty in terms of crop mix and a lot of economic uncertainty that's been spanning the last couple of years. And because of that, folks are a little delayed in terms of what their planting intentions were going to be and ordering. And then, we had a really wet planting season, which I know rainfall is a blessing, but it could also be a curse when you're trying to get the crop established. So, it really seemed to drag out. But then once we got into the heart of the summer, the cotton crop really got its feet under it, and we've been blessed with a cotton harvest and cotton yields in the southern part of Texas, up into Oklahoma and the South Delta as well, that are as good as I've seen in my 25-year career. So unfortunately, the cotton price could be a little bit better to help out, but we've seen some tremendous yields in the South Delta and in the Southwest. And my guys out in Lubbock and West Texas are starting to harvest as well, and it looks like those trends will continue out there as well.
That's great to hear, especially given the challenges you mentioned that happened early in the season.
That's right.
I've heard that Phytogen has 2 new varieties for the 2026 season. What are they, and how do they perform from both a yield and fiber quality standpoint this year?
Yes, Hillary, we do have 2 new introductions, Phytogen 357 W3FE, which is an early mid product, and Phytogen 433 W3FE, which is more of a mid maturing variety. And we're really excited about these because they both come fully loaded from a trait perspective. So they're wide strike 3, flex, and list varieties, but they also have full tolerance to bacterial blight and both root knot and reniform resistant traits. So fully loaded trait package with these two, and they're both very, very broadly adapted. So we talk about 357. I like to think about from a Delta perspective, that variety that we're going to put on our traditional cotton dirt, irrigated, where, we're shooting for really top end yields. And that's what we've seen out of 357. So it's going to be a product that, even though it's broadly adapted across the belt, is probably going to fit a little bit better as we travel north. We're seeing really strong performance out of it in central Oklahoma, up into Kansas, and then in the North Delta as well. 433 was a product that excited me because it seemed like it was going to be something that had, a lot of guts. So if conditions turned hot and dry, it was going to be able to yield through those challenges. And what we've seen with 433 is that while it does have a lot of guts and can perform in tough conditions, when conditions are right, like we saw this year, it's got tremendous top and yield potential as well. The other thing that really excites us about 433 is the fact that it's got a premium fiber package. We're consistently seeing staple lengths in excess of 40, and it's got yield and premium fiber, which is something growers need in these tough economic times.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, those sound like some strong options for a wide range of acres.
Yeah, it's going to complement Phytogen 415 and Phytogen 411 really well to help round out the portfolio.
As we look to 2026, what are a few things that growers need to be thinking about to prepare for the next season?
Well, unfortunately, the economic conditions are still top of mind for everybody. We can produce a big crop and high yields, but we need price and markets to go along with that. So that's what's on everybody's mind right now. And, the best way to maintain profitability is, to plant high quality, good germ, vigorous seeds so that we can, optimize a stand within our optimum planting window. And then to plant products that are going to provide built-in protection from pests such as root knot, reniform nematode, bacterial blight, and provide consistent performance that we see in both our internal and third-party trials in order to provide the yield, and then hopefully the commodity markets come along with that to provide the prices that our growers need.
Where can our audience go for more information?
More information, you can reach out to your local field agronomist, or you can visit phytogen.com for more information on our 2025 harvest.
Jonathan, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with me today.
Thank you, Hillary.
All right, now, without further ado, let's bring you that aforementioned interview with Lauren Krogman. Lauren's title over there at the National Cotton Council is Manager, Marketing and Processing Technology. Now, if that sounds like she might wear a lot of different hats, well, that's because she does, as many of those folks over at the council do. One such item she's tasked with in recent years is running the show and creating the agenda and lining up all the little details to pull off the Beltwide Cotton Conferences. As you all may know, that important show is coming up here in January, and so we're happy to have her with us here in mid-December. Lauren, welcome.
Thank you, Beck. Happy to be on.
Yeah, and we're happy to have you. No doubt about it. So, all right. We know that 2026 Beltwide Cotton Conferences will be happening in San Antonio, Texas, beginning January 7. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
Okay, good. At the Marriott River Center there on the Riverwalk in downtown San Antonio. So tell us, how is planning going at this point? Are you still in the kind of agenda setting phase, or are you feeling like things are set and ready to rock?
We are ready to go. We're excited. Actually, our new printed programs and our finalized signs just came in this week. This year, the Beltwide logo and signage had been redesigned, and we're excited to show everyone the new look as we move to modernize.
Yeah, that's great. I know Signage Day, as somebody who pulls off little mini events on occasion, Sign Day is a big day when you get that signage in. Tell us, Lauren, what does the attendee list look like these days at the Beltwide Cotton Conferences? I know that there are extension researchers there, there's USDA reps there. Who else might you bump into at the Beltwide Cotton Conferences these days?
Yes, to those that you mentioned. We also have a large group of students that come, both undergrad and graduate, come to practice their presentation skills. And along with the large number of students, we have consultants from all over the belt that come in, as well as a number of agribusiness attendees and industry members. And speaking of that, I'd love a chance to recognize our sponsors that help to support Beltwide, which include BASF, Corteva, Bayer, S&K, the Cotton Foundation, Syngenta, FMC, Tama, John Deere, and Georgia Peanuts.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, happy to let y'all do that. I know that I have just as a little peek behind the curtain here. I have been talking a good bit this week with the various state cotton specialists, extension cotton specialists for our acreage survey that I've been doing for the magazine. And each one of those people, I'm like, well, I see you at Beltwide, and they're all like, oh yeah, so those cotton specialists are going to be excited to be there as well. So ought to be a good group of folks there. How would you describe the Beltwide in 2026 it's going to be to someone who didn't know about it, to someone who doesn't know what happens there?
Well, the Beltwide facilitates exchange of information on new products and production and processing systems, which enhance productivity in individual farming operations. Over 3 days, participants will benefit from individual reports and panel discussions, providing essential insights for making critical cotton production and marketing decisions. The conference's diverse program and networking opportunities really make it a unique event.
Yeah, it is. It's no doubt about it. It's unique. What attendees rather expect to see at this year's Beltwide? Is there an overall theme? I think in years past there's been themes. And what are some of the hot topics going to be on that agenda that you have devised?
Well, we don't really have an overall theme for this year, but we would like to highlight the Cotton Consultants Conference, which is scheduled for the afternoon of January 7th. Presentations include a panel discussion on emerging pests and invasive species, including the new cotton jassid bug. A report on planaslin will be provided as well as reports on resistance monitoring and cotton aborted terminal phenomena. USDA OPMP will also be providing a regulatory update, and we'll have council staff there to talk about various ways we're working to seize new opportunities for U.S. cotton and bring awareness to issues around microplastics. We'll also have a special guest, Mr. Eric Snodgrass, there with his climate updates.
Very cool. Yeah, my ears perk up when I hear about that, the plastics discussion that the council is trying to kind of spearhead. I think that is quite worthwhile in our marketing and for the general good of our health as a society. So yeah, I'll be at that one. Are there any other event offerings that you'd like to promote to our audience? I know you've mentioned like the consultant conference. Of course, we're mostly a grower audience that listen to this thing, but yeah, we've got some folks who are going to be attending this show will be there. So listening to our show. So, are there any other offerings that you want to promote to our audience?
Yes, absolutely. The Beltwide's 10 cotton technical conferences provide findings from current research and updates on emerging technology and programs aimed at elevating U.S. cotton production and processing efficiency. Those sessions will meet concurrently beginning the morning of January 8th and conclude by noon on January 9th, and we have a total of 310 presentations scheduled for this year. Outside of the meeting rooms, we have 132 posters scheduled to be displayed. These can be a great way to meet researchers and discuss topics of interest. There are a number of evening mixers scheduled during the conference for people to mingle, and of course, our welcome reception for all attendees on Wednesday night at 6 p.m.
Yes, I will be there for the welcome reception too. So, what about if our listeners are interested in learning more online? Where might they go, Lauren?
Absolutely. So those planning to attend encouraged to pre-register on the Beltwide homepage, which you can access by going to cotton.org/Beltwide.
Easy enough. Even I could figure that one out, how to get to that one. So, hey, Lauren, we appreciate you taking time to join us today. I know, like we've discussed before we got started recording here, it's a busy time of year for you. And so we just thank you so much for taking time with us. And I will be seeing you in San Antonio here soon.
Thank you. Look forward to having you there.
Okay, well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Cotton Companion podcast. We want to say thanks again to Mr. Gary Adams for taking time to join us to break down the newsy items from last week. And of course, we want to thank Lauren Krogman for spending some time with us to talk Beltwide Cotton Conferences. Thanks to our sponsors, of course, the American Cotton Shippers Association, and to my old buddy from Greenville, Mississippi, Jonathan Siebert and Corteva for their gracious sponsorship of this episode. And as always, we want to thank you, dear listener, for joining us and for your continued support. We hope that you have indeed enjoyed this episode. And if you like what you've heard, please be sure to spread the word and tell your farming friends and neighbors about the Cotton Companion podcast. Here's where and how they can find us.
You can find the Cotton Companion in 3 easy ways. First, go to cottongrower.com/companion or simply click the podcast tab at the top of the homepage. Second, subscribe to our channel on iTunes or wherever you find your podcasts these days. And 3, sign up for our weekly e-newsletter, the Cotton Grower e-News, that's delivered to your email inbox every Tuesday morning. You can do that by going to cottongrower.com/subscribe. Also, be sure to follow Cotton Grower on social media. We are at Cotton Grower Mag on Twitter. And on Facebook, you'll find us by searching for Cotton Grower Magazine.
All right. The Cotton Companion podcast is produced by Tyler Hatch and Kim Henderson, our talented colleagues at the world headquarters for Meister Media Worldwide. That's in lovely Willoughby, Ohio. I am Beck Barnes, and I will be back with you in a few weeks with the next episode of the Cotton Companion podcast. Until then, kick those feet up. Take a break. You've earned it.
'Cause God made me a farmer. Yeah, he works and he works and he works and he works all day. God made a farmer.